Bethany Kline is founder of 365 Catholic Singles Community and Newsletter, and we're going to talk to her about what they're up to and an upcoming event. Bethany, thank you for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Thanks for having me, Bo.
It is wonderful to have you with us. So first of all, tell us, what is 365 Catholic Singles Community?
Yeah, so we are the world's only community providing Catholic singles with consistent nightly fellowship 365 days a year. And our mission is to bridge the gap between the swiping and the sacrament of marriage by fostering a space for faith, fun, and authentic connection. Beyond our nightly gatherings, we serve as your premier information source for the best Catholic events nationwide. From our monthly speakers and socials to live in-person conferences and retreats, we provide the tools and opportunities you need to meet like-minded singles who share your values and your love for the Church. We actually created 365 Catholic Singles Community to be the ultimate resource for singles seeking more than just a dating app. And we provide 365-night-a-year platform for faith-centered fellowship, ensuring that fun and community aren't just for the weekends. By combining the nightly virtual prayer and social events with a curated newsletter featuring the best national conferences and retreats, we provide a clear path for you to meet your other Catholic singles who share your commitment to the faith.
Absolutely wonderful. So you have an upcoming Pentecost Pilgrimage. And so if you can just explain to folks what that is and how that interacts with the general work of 365 like you were talking about.
Yeah, so upcoming, we have the Pentecost Pilgrimage, which will be with the National Eucharistic Congress St. Cabrini launch, which will occur in St. Augustine, Florida, at the National Shrine of Our Lady of Leche. And so what we hear from a lot of Catholic singles, though, is they're tired of the dating app burnout, they're just swiping and seeing faces, and they really want these in-person opportunities. And so what we do here at 365 is we create these opportunities at Catholic conferences and these pilgrimages to meet other Catholic singles in person while living out our faith. And this is such a special event because it's celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States. And so we're excited to bring Catholic singles to St. Augustine, Florida, to the National Shrine of Our Lady of Leche.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, in the larger amount of your literature and things like this, you guys described a loneliness paradox where we're more connected digitally than ever, but isolated personally. Why is it that dating apps are failing Catholic singles in such a way that the work that you started out to do is a necessary remedy for these issues?
Yeah, so the paradox is that, we have thousands of faces at our fingertips. We've lost the personhood behind the screen. And so these dating apps turn people into a transaction or just pixels to be judged in a split second. And for a Catholic single whose life is built on the dignity of the person and the beauty of the vocation, that transactional swipe culture is soul-crushing. We aren't failing to find people, we're actually failing to find community, and that's what we're reclaiming, and that's where 365 Community for Catholic Singles comes in nightly. You have live interaction with other fellow Catholic singles.
And I mean, this obviously spiritually is the case, but also just a health factor in general. So isolation is dangerous. I believe you've pointed out research that says isolation is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So spiritually speaking, why is isolation the quote-unquote devil's playground?
Yeah, though it's actually a phrase that many exorcists use because in isolation, our perspective becomes distorted. Without the mirror of a healthy community, the accuser, the devil, can more easily fill our heads with lies about our worth and our future. God exists in a communion of persons and the Trinity, and we are made in that image. When the devil separates a sheep from the flock, that's when it's most vulnerable. So we bridge that gap by being alive for Catholic singles 365 nights a year and bringing them into community and praying the rosary and having fellowship.
Well, and then in regard to, of course, trying to stem that isolation, there's another burnout reality. 75% of users of dating apps, for instance, report swipe burnout. So what does that have to do with a person's faith life, and how does it affect it?
So burnout actually leads to cynicism. So when you've swiped through thousands of faces and had dozens of dead-end conversations, you actually, as a Catholic single, start to believe that a holy, happy marriage isn't possible for you. That cynicism eventually bleeds into your relationship with God. And so our community at CatholicSinglesNewsletter.com exists to stop that burnout, but by providing that real live conversation nightly that restores hope that you can pursue the vocation of marriage if that's your heart's desire and your calling by God.
So 365, of course, in your name. So that why that concept? Your organization provides live fellowship 365 nights a year. So how does a meeting nightly on Zoom maybe change that dynamic?
Yeah, it moved us all as Catholic singles from typing and swiping on our phones to seeing and praying. And so every single night, our members in community can hop on the live Zoom to pray the rosary and then to talk and have fellowship. And so it's not an algorithm. It's actually like a living room. You get to know someone's heart, their sense of humor, and their prayer life long before you even consider a date with them. And so it builds a healthy foundation of friendship that the dating apps simply cannot replicate.
Well, and the entire concept, of course, of like algorithms is about limiting and optimizing and really sort of pigeonholing people. But you guys insist on a wide welcome instead. So you talk about welcoming singles from 18 to 118, including widowed and divorced. How do you keep such a diverse group cohesive?
So shared values are the ultimate glue. Whether you are 25 and never married or 65 and widowed, or you are navigating a divorce or annulment, the longing for Christ and the need for authentic connection are universal. We aren't just a dating group. We are a community of disciples. And just as in a family, you have different generations that all sit at one table, that's exactly how our community operates. Everyone has a seat at the table, and we are all united in Christ.
Well, so, obviously, like the online element, 365 days a year, but then with this, what we're talking about, that starts to be in person. So with the St. Augustine launch, why is it important to bring this community to the National Shrine of Our Lady of Leche for the pilgrimage?
There is something so powerful about going back to the roots. St. Augustine is the site of the first Mass on the American soil. As the U.S. prepares for its 250th anniversary, we want to bring the Catholic singles back to that first Mass foundation. We are joining with the St. Cabrini route and the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage to remind everyone that our primary real presence is in the Eucharist, which then empowers us to be present with one another in person as Catholic singles.
Well, right. And so moving online to on-site, what does authentic fellowship actually look like during the 5-day Pentecost pilgrimage?
So for Catholic singles, they can expect to have shared meals with their fellow Catholic singles, a group prayer at the shrine and the Masses, and then the joy of finally meeting fellow Catholic singles that you've been praying with perhaps on Zoom for months, or for the Catholic single that is afraid to travel by themselves and just wants to be in community, we welcome them also. You do not have to be a member of the community to participate. And it's the opportunity to look someone in the eye and share a laugh and experience the one nation under God being together. It's about being fully present in a way that's absolutely impossible when you're just swiping through thousands of impersonal faces on the dating apps.
Well, and to bring that together, right, not only the Eucharistic pilgrimage, but just the role that the Eucharist plays in all of this. How does focusing on the Eucharist help heal exactly the digital isolation that everyone is feeling in some regards, but specifically for singles, this being a critical juncture in the here and now?
For Catholic singles, the Eucharist, and all Catholics, the Eucharist is the ultimate antidote to the isolation. It is the sacrament of unity. When we focus on the real presence of Jesus, it humbles us and opens our hearts to the real presence of our neighbor. In a world that tells us to focus on me, the Eucharist calls us to focus on we. And that shift in focus is where the healing begins with this digital isolation that many Catholic singles are experiencing on the dating apps today.
Well, of course, this is all going to be happening before we know it, less than 60 days out. How can people join the community and make sure to get to St. Augustine for the pilgrimage?
So, Catholic singles do not have to secure a membership in our community to come on the Pentecost Pilgrimage Memorial Day weekend in St. Augustine, Florida, but they can visit CatholicSinglesNewsletter.com and they can secure a membership there, or they can also find more information on the St. Augustine Pentecost Pilgrimage that will be happening Memorial Day weekend, which we are less than 60 days out. So don't wait. Spots are filling up, and we look forward to having all the Catholic singles join us for this wonderful celebration in St. Augustine.
Well, we got a minute left, so before we let you go, what are the different ways beyond the pilgrimage that people want to find out more or sign up or get involved with everything that you're doing? Where do they need to go, and what's the best way to find out more?
So any Catholic single, ages 18 to 118, that are never been married, widowed, navigating life through an annulment or a divorce, will go to CatholicSinglesNewsletter.com. That's CatholicSinglesNewsletter.com. And there they will find out more information under the membership tab, how to join our nightly community. And they will also see a link how to participate in the Pentecost pilgrimage. So again, that's CatholicSinglesNewsletter.com.
Bethany Kline is the founder of 365 Catholic Singles Community and Newsletter, and as she said, talking about the real presence, the Pentecost pilgrimage, all of that you can go find out at 365 Catholic Singles. Bethany, thank you for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Thanks, Bo, for having me. Have a great day.
You as well. We do appreciate it.